A555ers, Andrew here. Time for a panegyric of the great Benchmade Saibu, a forgotten, amazing EDC knife. This is not going to be a boilerplate specifications overview of this knife. There are already great videos of that sort out there. But if you want to hear why I love carrying this knife, going on 3 years, even though it's been long discontinued, I've got some things to say. Let's start with talking about nostalgia. Saibu is the Japanese word for details, and it's the details of the 486 Saibu that resonate with me and causes me to carry it a lot. On paper, this Benchmade is the equivalent of a Benchmade mini griptilian in terms of its general specifications, perhaps with some upgraded material choices like the 20 CV steel, a nice deep carry clip, and you might just be thinking that it's just a recipe for a highly upgraded but solid EDC knife. But these features in general in no way distinguish what is special about the Benchmade Saibu. So let's start with the distinct and stunning execution of the drop point blade. The drop point blade was popularized by the legendary Bob Loveless. Loveless knives are, of course, among the most sought-after knives ever made. What is perhaps less known is the immense influence that Bob Loveless had on Japanese knife making. The drop point is the starting point for Japanese knife makers. The execution of the drop point in this knife is a beautifully flat ground satin wash blade which flows in a distinctly Japanese style into the comparatively thick and intricate G10 and wood inlaid grip. The slight shoulder for the inlaid thumb stud is subtly ergonomic and also aligned with the architecture of the rest of the grip. The 20 CV steel of the blade is ground to a nice thin edge, especially for a Benchmade. And I've EDC'd this knife for quite a while, and it's only ready for sharpening now after a couple years. That is quite a while. So taking the traditional purity and the practical utility of the knife blade, you've already got something that, in my mind, is more special than your typical griptilian, most definitely. But this knife is probably remembered by most for its unique skeletonized grip. And at first glance, a combination of G10 and Kokobolo inserts are perhaps vaguely attributed to a simulacrum of high traditional Japanese architecture. However, the truer design reference is strangely more comforting. Apparently, Nakamura was drawn to the simple lattice work on a residential home in his Japanese neighborhood. This perhaps brings together my most distinct insight about this knife. There is a special kind of nostalgia for everyday things, for those things which also pay tribute to those meaningful designs of everyday things. So this knife, with its utility drop point blade and skeletonized grip, go beyond simple abstract utilitarian use, and instead for me have some kind of uncanny nostalgia for the charm and grace of a design place, like a Japanese lattice wall. There's even something bamboo-esque in the back spacer, which separates the proverbial two walls of the grip. The combination of the sculpted G10 and concave pivot and screws, the delightful little inserts, make this knife more than a sum of its parts. Now, because this knife is only resonating with ordinary things, it's not trying to be an art knife. It is somehow more memorable in spite of its ordinary material execution. That is what good design does, after all. So yeah, I love carrying this little knife. It gets kind of linty sometimes, and I wish the blade was a little longer. The weight of the knife with the metal backspacer is a little heavy compared to some of the Benchmade super lightweight offerings out there like the bugout. But for the most part, that deep carry clip buries this knife in a pair of slacks, and the tried and true axis lock makes for easy handling when this knife is called for. The build quality on this example of the Saibu was flawless out of the box for me. And by the way, I just paid out of pocket for this. As you perhaps can hear, I've been sick this week, and it's sometimes interesting when you're getting back to health what you start reaching for. What are the things that have really become part of your life? Maybe it's a well-made wallet, or a trusty pistol, or a pocket knife like this one, which is actually memorable. Though I carry this knife all the time, my kids noticed it, especially when I had it out today. And what was your reaction to this knife when you saw it?
So pretty.
What do you like about it?
Just the wood, how they have wood and the black.
Yeah, cool. Nice. Maybe someday this knife will be yours, Mads. I'll be glad if it is. Thanks for watching, guys.